Hey, what is up, everyone? Good evening to you. Good to see you. Say hi in the chat. Let me know where you are watching from. So I'm glad that y'all are here. Today, we're going to be doing something pretty cool, which is learning how to identify a leak in public. A leak meaning a problem that a business is having that people are complaining about in public. Norway, Oregon. Awesome. Hey, from Phoenix. So a leak that businesses are experiencing that people are complaining about in public, which pain points and complaints are gold for us as AI service providers. Those complaints, especially when they're made public for everyone to see, we can turn that into a solution that a real business will pay for, because nothing is worse than having people, your customers or your prospective customers, complaining about your business for everyone to see. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Hey, Russell. And so somewhere in your cities that you're all calling in from, hey, NYC, Chicago, somewhere in the cities that you live, you have businesses that are experiencing these issues, that are having these pain points, and that have these leaks in public. And so I'm going to show you how to identify those issues, and then how to build the actual solution that will solve that problem, and how to craft the outreach to that business, like what I would actually send to a business in order to get them to take a call with me, so that I can tell them, hey, I have the solution to this problem that people have been complaining about. Like, let's do business. So wherever, and I think I've been asking people for this for a couple weeks now, but I want you to drop your city that you want me to choose and the niche that you want me to choose, because we are going to be looking at some cities and niches in the Leak Finder, which I will be showing you guys in just a sec. Hold on one sec. Okay, sorry, I had to yell at people to be quiet. Alrighty. Sorry, I have a lot of background noise going on. All right, so we have some niches and cities being dropped in the chat, so keep those coming and we'll pick those in just a sec. All right. Sorry about that. We also have a bunch of kittens, so if you see or hear any kittens running around, just know that that's my life. And real quick before we start, so everything that I do, everything that I'm teaching today, which is identifying a problem that a business has, building the solution for it, and then doing the actual outreach to the business to offer your services and offer to solve the problem that they're experiencing, I teach inside of AI Money Hub, which is my school community. And if you own a business and you want to identify the leak in your business and have the solution built for you, then you'll be able to book a call with me, and you can just check out the YouTube description for both of those links. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and share my screen. You don't hear any background noise? I'm glad. All right, so I'm not gonna be able to see the comments real quick, but this is the Leak Finder. This is what we're gonna be looking at today. And before I get to that, so basically the Leak Finder, the way it works is it's going to go through publicly available data, Google reviews. Like, Google reviews is where people love to complain. And I can personally attest to this. When I worked at my 9 to 5, we didn't have very bad Google reviews. Ours were 5 stars, and we had, I don't even know, 500, something like that. But people love when they have a really great experience or when they have a really terrible experience. That's where they're going to go to complain. You don't get a lot of those people that just had like a meh kind of experience that feel compelled to go and talk about it on Google reviews. So you're going to get the best of the best and the worst of the worst. And so what we're going to be looking for is businesses that have a fair number of reviews. So we don't want to look for businesses that have like 10, 15 reviews. We also don't want to look for businesses that have like 10,000 reviews. The reason being, if you have a really small sample size, like one bad review is going to drag that number down. It's also only one review. So if you only have one person complaining about a problem, it might have just been a bad day, or, you know, the technician didn't do well that day, or whatever the issue is. It might have just been a one-off situation. And if it is, you know, a business with 5, 10,000 reviews, you might have 3 people complaining about the same thing. But again, the sample size is so large that that might not be representative of what the actual kind of snapshot of the business looks like. So we're going to be looking for businesses, I think it's between 3.5 and 4.2 stars on Google that have, you know, a decent amount. I think it's like 40 reviews plus, but that's kind of like the criteria that we're going to be using to evaluate. All right. Not to brag, but Kevin says AI Money Hub School is an amazing, awesome resource. Community is the real deal. I didn't even pay you to say that. I love it. Thank you. All right, let me take a look at these cities and I'll make a quick list. London dry cleaners or plumbers. I like it. Dallas roofing. Personal injury law firms in NYC. Let's see here. A lot of HVAC and plumbing. I'll add HVAC to the list. Maybe we'll pick a random city. Alyssa really wants Charlotte, North Carolina property management. Charlotte, NC. Oh, we have the same last name. Hey, girl. And let's see, paralegal in Flagstaff. Alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I won't be able to see comments for just a sec, but I will come back. All right. So this is the leak finder. Okay, this is the leak finder. So just like what I was talking about, this harvests Google reviews, and all it is going to do is look for the repetitive complaints that come up. So these are just some cached runs of, you know, like random niches and cities that I was kind of running through earlier, but this is what it looks like. Which one is this? I think used car dealers in Sacramento is this one. Yes. So what it does, it's going to run through all the Google reviews. It's going to look for ones that are in that 3.5 to 4.2 star range. Let me make that a little bit bigger. And it's going to tell what the business is. And before I even get into this, I'm not putting any of these businesses on blast. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not slandering them or talking smack. This is all just observations based on publicly available data. Don't harass these businesses. Don't, you know, do anything crazy. If you do reach out to them, you'll know how to do that tactfully and respectfully by the end of this live. But I'm just saying, like, let's not do anything crazy. So this auto sales dealership in Sacramento. So the common complaint is that customers are driving 1 to 2 hours after they receive a verbal inventory or financing confirmation that don't hold up when they get there, and they end up leaving without a vehicle and then being really mad about it because they wasted their time. They got their hopes up for nothing. And then they're posting the negative review on Google. And so like we get to see what the primary pattern is. There are 5 independent mentions of this issue. The owner rarely responds to reviews. If you know anything about Google reviews, you know that the owner should be as immediately as possible, like hearting and responding to that review, positive, negative, doesn't matter. The reason being, like that helps with, I guess you can think of it as like SEO, but it's going to help visibility for the business online. And if it's a negative review, number one, it's good customer service and good karma to try to make it right with that customer. So you don't want to just leave a bad review out there unaddressed, because then people are going to think this business does not care. And then the negative review is going to sit there and other people can read it without seeing how the business handles those kinds of conflicts and trying to make it right. So knowing, do they care about customer service? You don't get that when the owner doesn't respond. But it's all what I just talked about. They called ahead, they drove an hour and a half, the car was already gone. So now they're mad and, et cetera, et cetera. We can see like an estimated monthly leak. So this is just an estimate from public review data, assuming a used car gross of roughly $2,400 per car, and that each confirmed failed arrival appointment represents one lost sale, with 2 to 6 such events visible in public over the last 3 months. The monthly opportunity loss is estimated conservatively at 2 to 6 deals. So if we could fix this problem, we could add this much an estimated revenue to that business, which is not insignificant. And so now it's saying like the fixability, it's about a 7 out of 10 fixable by automation. We could build a real-time inventory confirmation workflow that sends an automated status check to the assigned salesperson a half an hour after a customer books a drive-in appointment and requires a manual confirm or cancel before an automated "your vehicle is held and ready" message goes to the customer. Pair it with a structured post-appointment follow-up sequence so that customers who leave without buying receive a same-day touch point rather than silence, which is currently the only response visible in the data. So this is basically telling us what the fix is. And then these are just some other issues that are showing up, like contract terms are differing once they get there. Refundable deposits are not returned after a deal falls through, prompting legal disputes, et cetera. And then these are actually straight from the reviews. So these are showing the 15 that flagged the leak. So, this was just a few months ago, drove an hour and a half to see a car. When I got there, they said they had sold it. So they lied to get me there. And even if that's not true, that's the perception. And that's what other people are going to see who look at this review. Fake inventory online. They lie to get you on the lot and try to sell you something else, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the basic gist of how this thing runs. So now I'm going to go ahead and run some of these through and we can watch it in real time. If it works, it works. If it does not, we'll move on to something else. All right, so let's do dry cleaners. And then we'll do London in the UK. And I actually haven't even done any, I haven't tested any non-US cities. So this will be interesting. We'll see if it works. And another thing is, this is not going to just pull results out of thin air. It's not going to hallucinate or make anything up. It's just pulling real data. And if there's a niche that doesn't have a lot of bad reviews, or businesses in a city in that niche that don't have a lot of bad reviews, it's not going to make them up. So this is going to save a lot of time. If you're doing this manually, obviously the process is just going to be a little bit longer, but it is the exact same. So you're going to go search in Google for, or in Google reviews Google Maps for dry cleaners in your city. 20 businesses, you're filtering for the leak zone, which again is 3.2 to 4.5 stars with real review volume. So we have 2 candidates in that zone, and we're pulling the receipts on the top 2 to see if they have any complaints. And they might not, there might not be multiple people complaining about the same issue, but if there are, this is how we're going to catch it. So this is not a guarantee that we're going to have, results for any of these that we check, but I do want to be honest and let you know, For example, the other day I was looking at HVAC businesses in Fresno, where I live. Excuse me. And there are businesses that have a ton of reviews and a ton of complaints. I'm talking like in the 5,000 range. And there are people complaining. Oh, perfect. We have some results we can look at. There are people complaining, but either the issue is like so old that it may or may not be an issue anymore, or there are just people complaining like, I didn't like the technician's tattoos, or like something where it's a matter of taste and not like an operational issue that the business is experiencing. Okay, so let's look at city center dry cleaners in London. So 0 owner responses to any public review means every compliment and every complaint disappears into silence. So this is like just basically saying they couldn't find any issues to flag, but the owner doesn't respond to Google reviews. So if you wanted to offer them like reputation management services or something like that, simple review monitoring alert that flags any new Google review within 24 hours, yada, yada, yada. And these are just like, these are the actual bad reviews themselves. So unprofessional, wanted an emergency cleaning, do not recommend for wash and fold, random pricing, so on and so forth. So it's not like a specific complaint where they're all saying, hey, they messed up my clothes and then I submitted a claim to get my money back and they made it really difficult or something like that. So these are not all issues that are all the same. And so that's why it's saying like, basically there's not one issue in common, but they need reputation management because they never respond to reviews. All right. So it looks like this niche might be a bust. And if I'm like giving any just like free advice, I would say dry cleaners may or may not be the best niche. The reason I say that is, number one, I don't know what kind of margins they have. But number two, their service is so low ticket that they may or may not have money to actually pay you a decent amount of money for whatever service that you provide. Okay, let's check Dallas roofing. All right, while that's running, I'm just going to come back here and check on the comments. Try to pull up AI Money Hub in school. Doesn't pull up. Is there a link? Yeah, I just dropped the link. I don't know if I can pin it, but I just dropped it in the chat, and I'll be posting it again at the end. And you can also look in the description for this live, and it will have the link for you there as well. All right, and somebody asked, would you recommend to go into insulation and auto body shop for AI consulting? Please show us how to find the clients and owners for these by DM or email as a beginner, how to deliver the services. I don't have time to show you how to actually deliver the service, but my best piece of advice for actually delivering services is ask Claude. And I have this shirt that says, yeah, if you could go ahead and ask AI instead of me, that would be great. I should have worn it today. I mean, I obviously mean that kind of tongue in cheek, but if you are ever, I mean this, like if you are ever confused about what do I do next? How do I build this? What should I say in response to this business owner? How do I actually deliver this? Where does it live? Like, where is it hosted? Do I host it? Or does the business host it? Do they need to set up their own account? Ask Claude. Like, always start by asking Claude. You're going to get so much more information if you ask Claude than trying to get like just struggling and not understanding and trying to ask all these different people. Like, start with Claude and explain, hey, here's my situation. I'm a brand new beginner. I've never built anything. I'm looking to acquire a client as soon as I possibly can. I'm looking to get money in the door quickly. Or if you're not, like, if you're looking to build something that's more sustainable, that might be, take longer to build over time, let Claude know that, like give all of the context. And then when you end the prompt, say, and ask me any clarifying questions before we begin so that you're able to provide me with the best possible information. Do that with Claude, and Claude will actually come back with an actionable plan for you. If you are asking questions about how do I actually build something, Claude is like the ultimate go-to. One tip I would add for that is whenever you're asking Claude, hey, how do I build this? Say, how do I build this thing? Ask me any clarifying questions before you give me any advice. And also refer to the most up-to-date documentation for any platform that we're talking about here. The reason being is you want Claude to actually look for the most up-to-date documentation so that it's giving you accurate information and not relying on training data, because that might be old and not relevant anymore. Alrighty. So let's go back to the leak finder and see what the results are. So no candidates in the leak zone here for roofing in Dallas. Sorry, I forgot to share my screen. So there are no candidates in the leak zone here. Try another city or niche. The reason being is that there are businesses that just farm reviews, like especially anybody in home services. Like they're just absolutely farming for reviews. They're asking everyone. They might even use, what's the name of that service? I can't remember what it's called, but there's a service that basically does review gating for businesses. I think it's like $7,500 a month. So businesses like roofing, electricians, plumbing, anybody in the trades, like contractors, they tend to skew towards having better reviews or just absolutely no reviews, even if they've been in business for like 30 years. So roofing in Dallas was a bust. Let's try personal injury attorney in New York City. So yeah, going back to like the roofers in Dallas for just a sec. So you're going to have, I mean, and this is just like based on my own experience and like doing this kind of research by hand. Okay. So personal injury attorney, no candidates here in the leak zone. Let's go to property management in Charlotte, North Carolina. I forget what I was just saying. Oh, so going back to roofing in Dallas, there are going to be either 1 million reviews or there are going to be like 10. And that's like, that hits both sides of the spectrum that we don't really want to hit. So a little bit of reviews means like 1 or 2 complaints is going to drag down their review average. And it's also could be 2 completely different problems. And because it's such a small sample size, it's not reliable, versus really big reviews where it's like 5,000 reviews. They might have 3 of the same complaints, but because it's such a large sample size, 3 of 5,000 is like a tiny percentage of that total number. And so it may or may not actually be a real problem for them, because if you polled 1 million people and asked, hey, do you like eating, I don't know, chocolate covered ants? Like if I asked my friend group, everybody would say no. If I asked 1 million people, there's going to be some people in there that say, yes, they're delicious. So if you have a big enough sample, then you're going to find people with issues, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's an actual problem and a priority for the business. Hopefully that makes sense. Alrighty, so we are now scanning the property management in Charlotte, North Carolina. While that runs, let me just come back here. So you can't access the site I'm using because I actually built it just for my own use. But I will actually be making this available to the VIPs in my community next week. So if you're a VIP in my community, or if you are looking to join my community and become a VIP, then you can access it there. Can we use the Leak Finder site ourselves? No, I just mentioned that. Do you need go high level or not? No. The only thing you need when you start is yourself, a computer, so you can look up different niches and find their leaks, and then a Stripe link and a Google Doc. Like the majority of the stuff that you need when you're first starting to identify these leaks, reach out to businesses, and then close them, it's free. Like you really don't need anything fancy. You don't need a website. You don't need a logo. Don't need a business name. They don't care. Like the number of people that I helped before I even had like a business name, like, and nobody ever asked about my website. Nobody asked about my credentials. And I think that's because I was like, I understand what your problem is. And then I explained it back to them. Here's what I'm going to build that actually is going to solve that problem for you. And like, I've had experience with sales calls before. And so I understand the importance of like really getting to the root of the problem and the pain point, and like selling to that problem or pain point rather than trying to sell AI or an AI voice agent. Like nobody wants an AI voice agent. They want their phone to not be ringing and ringing and ringing while they're gone on a job site. Like they want somebody that can answer the phone 24/7 and never call out. All right, so let's go back to the Leak Finder. Okay, so this looks promising. We have 8 candidates in the zone. There were 348 reviews across 5 businesses. So it's analyzing all of those folks right now. All right, so let's look at this first one. Prospective owner, clients and tenants are lost at the first contact. Calls go unreturned. Follow-up is never delivered. And the answer, when it finally arrives, comes via text after the prospect has already chased the company twice. This is fantastic. Okay, so unreturned calls and broken follow-up promises to inbound leads. There are 4 people mentioning this exact issue, and the owner rarely responds to reviews. So people are not receiving callbacks that they were promised. They had to call, they had to chase this company themselves and still couldn't get somebody to answer the phone. Hello, speaking of AI voice agents. 3 different people needed to answer one basic question. So basically bureaucracy and red tape slowing down the process, which is already stressful and annoying. Like if you're trying to move into an apartment or just submit an application to an apartment and you can't get a straight answer, that's a pain in the butt. And no response after multiple voicemails and follow-up attempts. So this one's really juicy. And the estimated monthly leak, $1,200 to $4,800 per month. So let's just go on the high side of things. So $4,800 a month times 12 months is like almost $58,000. So a $58,000 per year project. And just to give you a sense of what I would charge. So I typically will charge, I would say 10 to 20% of the first year's added revenue. So what did I say? 58,000. Yeah, 58,000. So let's say 15%. So somewhere in the middle of that. So I would say like an $8,600, maybe I would round it down, like $8,000 build. Half of that I would charge up front, and then half I would do once it's completed, like once I'm handing it off to the client. And this is perfect, like 9 out of 10 fixable by automation. So build an automated acknowledgement sequence that triggers that the moment an inbound call or web inquiry is logged, confirming receipt and setting a specific callback window, and escalating via SMS to the assigned agent if the callback has not been completed within 2 hours. Pair this with a CRM lead stage tracker so no prospect can sit in awaiting callback status across a weekend without a supervisor alert firing. That's fantastic. So right there, I think that's probably our winner for what we're going to be building today. And then we see all of the poor reviews in here. Wow, this one's really long. So this person's really upset. And then we can come down here to the pitch angle. So Alarka has a 4.5-star overall rating, which tells me their core service delivery is working for a lot of people. What the recent 1-star reviews are pointing to is something narrower and more fixable. Again, like we're not here to bash any of these businesses or, you know, to embarrass them or make them feel bad. Really, we're approaching it from a perspective of, hey, there's a process issue. It's not your people. You're probably fantastic people. It's not a moral failing. It's you have a leak in your process, and I can help you patch that leak. So that in addition to making your prospective tenants happy, you're also going to be making more money and doing it more easily. So you're saving time, you're making more money, your customers, your end users are happy. It's a win-win situation. So with the window between when a prospect first calls and when they get a real answer is long enough that some of them form their opinion about your professionalism before you ever get to show them what you actually do. That gap is a systems problem, like I just said, not a people problem. And it's a kind of thing that can be closed without adding headcount. So that's fantastic. They're like, in a nutshell, that is exactly how we're going to approach this. All right. So now let's get into the good stuff. We're going to actually build this issue or build this, the solution to this. So something that I believe in very strongly is that you can build anything. You can build an entire ass business with Claude and nothing else. And I would know because I only use Claude. Like I don't even use N8N anymore. When you say added revenue, what do you mean for the charge to do the automation? So like what I was just explaining about, like if it's a $58,000 a year problem, I would charge somewhere between 10 to 20% for something that's going to be directly revenue generating. So maybe like $8,000. And I might even do, let's say, I might even like reduce that to like 6,000. I mean, you can use like, or yeah, like 5,800. Let's go on the lower end. So $5,800 up front, and then like a $500 a month retainer. And that's just to maintain the system, improve it, upgrade it whenever new models come out, like keep it adjusting with the time so that it's not still trying to run on like, you know, Opus 4.1 or something like that. But there's like a number of different ways that you can do pricing. But typically like between 10 to 20% for something directly revenue generating. I think you could make the argument that this isn't directly revenue generating, like if you're the prospective client, although, I mean, I think it is, but they could see it as more of like a customer service issue. However, it's the same customers that are making these complaints and don't end up moving into the property that you're managing because of like the poor service or the poor experience that they're having. But you're not only losing out on that revenue, but you're also losing out on revenue from anyone who goes and sees those Google reviews and is like, I will never like live there because I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? So let's say I would charge like $5,800, which is 10% of the estimated. I mean, it's at the high end of the estimated revenue generated for the first year. And then maybe like a $500 per month retainer. This is an excellent question. Will the leak finder also include how to do this pricing magic? No, but I really like that idea. I think that's a fantastic idea. I'll add that when I release that to my VIPs next week. Yeah, I think a lot of people like struggle with pricing, but just as like a like super like rule of thumb, super ballpark way of thinking about it. If it's something revenue generating, which you want as much of what you do, the work that you do with businesses to be revenue generating, because businesses will almost always say yes to something that actually gives them more money. They'll pay almost anything for that. That's why people will pay $2,000 a month retainer to somebody to run Meta ads for them or Google ads or whatever. And in addition to that, whatever they spend on the ads, let's say they spend $3,000 a month, a lot of agencies will also charge like 10% or 20% of their ad spend. So businesses will pay exorbitant amounts of money if you can make them money. If you can generate leads and appointments and booked deals for them, they'll pay you. So that's why I say always try to find the thing that's lead or revenue generating. But yeah, generally 10 to 20% if it's revenue generating, and if it's just like a time saving thing or something that's going to streamline operations, somewhere like closer to the 10%. And yes, I am recording this. So if you need to watch the replay, do not worry. All right. So let's come back here to the leak finder. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of this. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to come to Claude. Like I said, I use Claude to build literally everything. Okay, just making sure you can see my screen. Here is the output from my leak finder. I've identified a business that has a substantial leak around communication and follow-up. I'm pasting all of the information from my leak finder output for context. I'm going to build the solution for them using Claude Code. Please create the Claude Code specification document and ask me any clarifying questions before you create that specification doc so that we can try to one-shot this. Oopsie. All right. So while Claude is thinking about that, and what I like to do, I mean, I use Fable for damn near everything because I love it, but if you're building something with Claude Code, depending on what it is, but if it's something where it's fairly easy and straightforward, use Fable for the planning, and then use like Opus 4.8 for the actual execution in Claude, or in Claude Code, sorry. Okay. So this is not going to be like a Claude Code tutorial in terms of like how to set it up. There are a million videos on YouTube. You can also just ask ChatGPT or Claude, hey, how do I set up Claude Code? It's pretty simple. But right now I'm going to change the directory to my demo folder on my computer. And then I'm going to start Claude by typing in Claude. And just for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to dangerously skip permissions. This is one of those things where it's like, do as I say, not as I do. Like if you're building something and it's just a demo, you can dangerously skip permissions. That basically is going to allow it to make whatever changes or do whatever it wants within that folder. So you'll notice like this is confined to just my demo folder, which right now is blank. So there's nothing in there that it can delete and will catastrophically ruin my business. But if you're building something in production, or you're touching something that's already in production, meaning like people are using it to run their business, then you don't want to dangerously skip permissions. But for the purposes of this demo, that's what we're going to be doing. All right. What is this build for right now? A demo prototype to pitch a Larka. What should power the automation layer? We're going to use a standalone app, meaning like, so somebody asked this earlier, do you need Go High Level? No, you don't. Go High Level, like I actually do use Go High Level as my CRM, but I'm not using it to like build out these workflows or these automations. You could use N8N and a lightweight dashboard, but it's funny because with N8N workflows, you can actually just tell Claude, hey, connect the N8N MCP to Claude, and then just describe to Claude what you want built in plain English, and Claude will go into your N8N account and build the workflows for you. So Claude, the main thing that I'm trying to say is like Claude is so powerful, you don't need other platforms. Claude can build you the app and then you just host it somewhere. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about in just a sec. But so when it says standalone app, like it's going to be built with Node, and then it's going to be hosted just like a regular website where you can visit a URL and see that website. It's going to live there, and you can actually share that link with a paying client and then like gate the access, meaning like if you don't pay me every month, you're going to lose access to this app that you use to run your business. All right. So which channels are in scope for version 1? Let's do SMS, email, and missed call capture. And the reason why we're not going to do like an AI voice agent today is just we don't have all that time. But you can also use Claude to build AI voice agents. Even if you have, and I would challenge you to do this just for funsies. I'm not encouraging you to like chase a shiny object and, you know, decide that you want to make 1 million AI voice agents, but just so that you can see how easy it is to use Claude to build literally whatever you want. Just go and say, hey, I've never built an AI voice agent before. I want to build one with Claude and whatever other platform I might need. Like, tell me exactly what I need to do. And then ask me any clarifying questions before we start. Always kind of end your prompts with that. And that will enable Claude to ask you questions and be like, you know, do you want to use VAPI or retail? And you'll be like, I don't know. I've never built one before. You suggest, and you know, so on and so forth. Should the demo actually send real SMS and emails during the pitch? I'll say yes. Just, I know it's a little bit ambitious, but let's see if we can do it. Agent roster editable in the app or hard-coded for the demo. Keep it simple. We'll have one hard-coded agent. White label generic for now, because I don't actually know what the Alarka branding looks like, and I don't want to do that research right now. Alrighty. So while Claude is doing all of that, let's check back in. Russell said hard mode enabled. Yeah, have Claude do it with N8N MCP, N8N skills. I like it. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason to do anything by hand, really, with Claude. Ask me clarifying questions one at a time with a confidence score until you are 95% confident you can complete this task successfully. I like it. Yeah, and I think this particularly is funny because I feel like with Fable and like some of the newer models that, or like Opus 5, you don't, it's almost like the hand holding. I was just talking about this earlier, I think with Russell, but that if you're over explaining to models like Opus 5 or to Fable, that it's actually like detrimental. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard. I can't remember who mentioned that. I think maybe, I don't remember. Is this creation using your existing SOP? Hey, Marco. What SOP are you talking about? Like the one that I have in the community that just like how to build anything using Claude? Is that what you're talking about? Let me know if that's what you're referring to. Will you have scripts as a general guide to follow? Scripts for what? Are you talking about like for the build or like to do outreach to the prospective client? All right, we'll come back to that. Alrighty. So both files are ready. Drop them into the project root, open Claude Code. The demo moment is engineered in. Every inbound call gets a polite, we missed you. By a Twilio number and local number is a nice touch. Okay, so I'm going to download both of these. And put them in my demo folder. Alrighty. And you can see like Claude is telling me exactly what to do. So, and you can even say, I need you to dumb it down. What is my project route? Or, you know, whatever questions that you need to ask. All right, let's get that going. No existing resources for direction. I'm not sure what you're talking about, like what you're asking. Like what the existing SOP is that you're referring to. I'm noticing they figure out more on their own, so it'll eventually be a detriment over explaining. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I've noticed with Fable. Just trying to do too much and like over explain it is actually going to be like, it would be like like a kindergartner trying to explain how to drive to you and just like getting too granular. Like, I get it. Explain it to me like I'm 10 helps me with learning stock options. I like it. And I can't make my screen any bigger, unfortunately. Alrighty, so give me one sec. All right, so now Claude Code is doing its thing, and I want to just reread this so I can make sure that we have everything we need. And so because I know that we're going to be using Twilio, I want to connect the Twilio connector. If you guys aren't familiar with the connectors in Claude and how they work, you can come right here to connectors, and then there's a ton. Basically, it's just the MCP for that particular service. So like the Airtable MCP, the Calendly MCP, etc. You can even add custom MCPs that are not native within Claude, like the Go High Level one that I have connected. But let's come here. I'm going to browse this. And I'm just going to connect it just in case. But what it will do is open up like an OAuth screen. So it should open like a new browser window and then ask you to log into that service. So Airtable, Calendly, Twilio, whatever the case is. and you just log in with your regular username and password. I don't know why it's not opening right now, but it's just like a really easy way. You know, you don't have to worry about API keys or, you know, any kind of funky authorization with like Google Cloud Console or anything like that. You just get to log in like you normally would to that platform. And then now Claude can actually access the data on that platform and take specific actions, use tools to do different things. Okay, it says it's connected to Twilio. I don't know why it didn't ask me to log in, but, and to be honest, I'm not even sure if we'll need it or what tools Twilio has available. Twilio retrieve and search. So all it's able to do is read in Twilio. So it's not able to actually do any specific action, but at least it can look things up, and that's fine. So we don't actually need the Twilio connector. Alrighty, it is still working. Have you used Claude Design instead of N8N? Claude Design is like for building like websites or other like visual assets. But yes, I've used Claude Design to do like, especially if it's like a website prototype. For example, I think it was in June, but there were 2 clients that had reached out. One wanted an e-commerce site built with Shopify, and the other was like, I mean, this guy is, I don't want to give out too much info, but he's like a really high powered type of dude. Like he works with Fortune 500 businesses and is just like super well connected. But he has this new business venture that I'm not going to give away any information about, but I mean, it's just incredibly lucrative. And so he wanted a website built, and for both of them, I was able to like just build something with Claude Design and then mock it up and deploy it to Railway, or to Netlify, which is just like a free way that you can host like a single page HTML website. But I deployed them there so that there was a real public link that I could share, even though it was like, you know, something funky like absolutebananas123.com or, you know, something like that, but was able to share that link with them. And I won both of those deals. And the guy that I was talking about, like the Fortune 500 guy, he was actually saying that it was because of the speed with which I was able to turn that around, that's why he gave me the deal. And he says that he has like a team in London that does all his graphic design, his website stuff. But he said that they would take like 3 days just to respond to his inquiry, let alone be able to build anything meaningful for him. And so like the fact that I was able to get on a call with him and then the next day send him like a prototype, that was what won him over. So yes, Claude Design is fantastic. Does it replace N8N though? No. Claude Code definitely replaces N8N. Claude Code can be like the front end, the orchestration layer. It can help build the back end, or it can deploy it to somewhere where there's a back end. All of my designs have a baseline of what's expected, additional directives and such, including MD files. Nice. And so something that I wanted to mention as well, and if you guys have any questions while we're waiting for Claude Code to do its thing, please feel free to drop them in the chat. But I think one of the things that can really slow people down with client acquisition is feeling like you need to have the finished product done in order to demo that to a business. Number one, that's not true. I had a business mentor that always said to sell before you create, which means like go out and sell something before you go through the trouble of creating it. Otherwise, you're going to have a perfect example. Otherwise, you're going to have a perfect demo that nobody wants, that nobody is going to pay you for, that you just wasted all this time or spent all this time to build for nothing. Perfect example was I built this automated SMS follow-up system using Airtable. And originally it was built on make.com because I think I had learned how to build that with make.com first, right before I learned N8N. So it was like 6 different workflows and it was very complex. And I was so proud of it because I thought it was so cool. So then I created a demo video which is so embarrassing. I need to share that demo video in my school community because it's just like cringe. But where I'm showing this is exactly how this system works. And then I was showing like what all the Airtable databases and interfaces look like and this, that, and the other. And in reality, it was just like too long. It was cringy. Nobody asked for that to be built. Like it was addressing a problem, but I wasn't really communicating like, here's the pain point that it solves. Anyway, so I sent I pulled a list of 250 installation companies to reach out to. I was like, I work for an installation company. I know this problem. They probably have it too. And the only responses that I got from it were people telling me like, leave me alone or stop emailing me. So. If you would like to message me privately to get advice on businesses, join my school community. Scripts to follow for outreach. So I wouldn't say scripts, but I would say like structures or frameworks. Because the thing about like a script where you're just copying and pasting the same thing every time, it's not always going to apply to whatever business you're reaching out to. The business is always going to be completely different, like a different niche, completely different pain points that you're solving for. And it's really good outreach is not one of those things where you can just like copy and paste it and then just change the niche or change the pain point. Like it needs to be more sound like a human. And so I'll show you like what that process looks like. And actually maybe while we're waiting for Claude Code to finish running, we can do that. Do you use Go High Level? I do. I use it as my CRM. So I'm not like building automations for clients in Go High Level. I just use it as my CRM. All right. So since we're waiting for Claude Code to finish running, let's tackle the actual outreach that I would want to send to this client. Okay. So I think that there are a couple different ways that you can reach out to. I mean, there are a million different ways probably, but I think 2 of the most effective, especially if it's like a white collar kind of niche, like property management, those people are going to be on LinkedIn. You can also reach a lot of business owners through cold email. And research shows, and I've experienced this as well, but research shows that I think there's like a 280% greater likelihood of getting a reply and either getting a reply or getting a positive reply, but I think it's getting a reply. If you do multi-channel outreach, meaning you send them a cold email, then you reach out to them on LinkedIn, and then you like send a Loom video to them. Or maybe it's like a 280% increase in close rate. I can't remember. You'll have to look up the research, ask ChatGPT or Claude. But essentially, you want to have multiple touch points. And I don't mean like call and harass them and then email them incessantly and then, so on and so forth. Like you want to do it tactfully and in a cadence that makes sense. But having multiple touch points allows you to get more exposure to people and actually get in front of them where they have an opportunity to see what it is that you're offering, so that you can try to sell them the thing that's going to change their life and change their business. They just don't know it yet. So I'm going to stay here in the same chat and do some research on how I can reach out to this prospect. Okay, I want to craft a cold email sequence to reach out to this prospect, followed by a LinkedIn sequence. And then just for the sequence, or just for the purposes of this demo, I don't know who the business owner is, and I don't want to look them up because I don't want to like risk publicly doxing them or drawing any negative attention to them because of these reviews. So I'm just going to say the business owner's name is Tom. The business owner's name is Tom. So I want you to start by creating a cold email sequence. But I want to do things a little bit differently. In addition to giving me the cold email sequence, I want you to provide a brief bullet point list describing why you made the decisions that you did in crafting the emails, such as why you chose a specific length or number of words, why you structured it in a certain way, so on and so forth. And ask me any clarifying questions before we begin. Okay, and so the reason why I say this is because I actually have a cold email masterclass skill, which this is what I use to actually like write cold emails, or to help help my clients write their cold emails. And so we don't have time to go over the whole skill because it's incredibly long, but I do want to like give you enough information that you feel like, okay, I understand this. I feel like I could write a cold email according to this framework that she's giving. Should the emails include the estimated dollar leak? I'm going to soften it to 2 to 4 lost agreements a month. And the reason why is because I do want to, number one, if you don't know what the actual dollar number, like the dollar amount is, you don't want to just make it up or fabricate it, because then that makes you look unprepared or unprofessional. If I soften it to 2 to 4 lost agreements per month, that's something that they can probably agree with, and they can attribute whatever the dollar amount is per agreement themselves. So if they know, like, and they do, business owners always know like what their average ticket is, or, you know, how much money they make every time they get a new customer or client. But if I say it's 2 to 4 lost agreements a month, they can be like, oh my gosh, an agreement is worth like $12,000 to me over the course of a year. I'm losing a ton of money. So that's why I'm going with that rationale. We don't want to use a direct book a call to action. I don't know why that's even on there. I'm going to use reply based, want me to send what I found, because I think a lot of beginners or people who like aren't well versed in cold email will either try to shove, you know, like, I want you to book a call with me. Okay. Either we'll try to force the prospect to book a call, like right off the bat, like here's my link to book a call, and they never even asked you for it. Or I feel like that's probably the biggest challenge I see with cold email. You're not trying to pitch them. You're not trying to win them over. You're not trying to explain everything in that first email. You're literally just trying to see, hey, do you have this problem or pain point? If you're in my school community, you've probably heard me talk about this a million times, but think of the buyer's journey as a funnel. So at the top of the funnel, it's really tall and wide, and then it gets skinnier and smaller at the bottom. So at the very top is all these different business owners who don't even realize that they have a problem yet. And So they're problem unaware. And it's kind of like when you reach your 40s or 50s and you have back pain, but you don't really notice. It's just kind of part of life. You don't really think about it. It's just kind of there in the background. So you're problem unaware. And then the next step, down below that is becoming problem aware. So that's somebody coming up to you and being like, oh, your back hurts all the time? That's not normal. And then you're like, oh yeah, I guess it does hurt all the time. Even when I wake up, like when I'm standing, when I'm sitting, it does hurt. Then the next step below that is becoming, but you're still solution unaware. Then the next step below that is becoming solution aware, meaning, oh, I have back pain. I wish I could do something about it. Oh, I could actually have surgery, or I could go to physical therapy, or I could take muscle relaxers, or whatever the different options are. So now you're solution aware. And so now you start doing research, like which option's best, which one should I do? And then once you become educated, you'll make your decision. And that's where buyers will make their buying decision. And so if you try to shove your products and services or book a call with me when they're problem unaware, why would somebody book a surgery consultation if they don't even realize they have back pain? Do you know what I mean? So really in that first email, we're saying, hey, do you have this problem? Like we're just trying to get a sense of, is this a problem or a pain point for you? Okay, I'm going to try to stop talking so much and hurry it up. So reply based, do you want me to send what I found? I'm going to send 3 emails, no breakup. All right, so while Claude is doing that, let's come back here. Okay, so here's what I actually ran, blah, blah, blah. To deploy, push to GitHub, connect to Railway, and add the PostgreSQL service. Okay. That's fine. All right, so deploy, I need to push to GitHub, connect to Railway, and then add the database. All right, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a moment. And then just because I don't want to dox any of my passwords and stuff. And yes, exactly like a sales funnel. Yes, thus the pain is invoked as they're thinking about the actual dollar amount they're losing. Yep, exactly. All right, give me 1 sec. I'm going to push this to GitHub, so bear with me. Sorry, guys. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves while I'm pushing this to GitHub. we need a good walkthrough on how to use GitHub correctly. Yeah, maybe we'll do that next, because GitHub can be the best thing that's ever happened to you or something that makes you cry. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again real quick. Okay, so this is Railway, which I have talked about before, but basically it's just asking me to create a new project. And so whenever you're creating something with Claude Code, you can push it to GitHub. And so that's where all the files will be hosted, like meaning that's where, you know, the files live. And so any changes you make to those files will like make changes in real time to your application. But it's asking me to like select a service essentially, but I'm going to choose GitHub repo. And I named my repo lead rescue demo. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, let's come back over here. And here's my email sequence that it came up with. 2 judgment calls using the review research angle. I appreciate that. And I'm holding the demo back as email 3 escalation rather than leading with it. Perfect. All right. So, hey, Tom, I researched property management companies in Charlotte, and Alarka kept coming up. 458 reviews at 4.5 stars is rare in this industry, but I noticed a pattern in how prospective owners describe their first contact with your office. Promise callbacks that don't arrive, questions bouncing between 3 people. Not a people problem, a systems gap. My estimate is it's costing you 2 to 4 management agreements a month. I mapped out exactly where the leak is and how it gets closed. Want me to send over what I found? So pretty decent. And then my sign off. So the structure of this, if you're like, how the heck can I recreate this for the people I'm doing outreach to? So you have your greeting, keep the subject line vague. Like you'll notice I don't capitalize the Q in question. If you have a subject line of free AI audit, that's going directly in the trash. If you have it as like quick question, Tom, or question, Tom, or something like that, then they're going to be like, oh, what is this? There's like a curiosity loop because they don't know what it already, like what the email is already about. It could be from anyone. This is personalization. So I researched property management companies in Charlotte, and your company, Alarka, kept coming up. This many reviews at this many stars is rare in this industry. And this isn't even the strongest, like is rare in this industry isn't even the strongest thing that you could say, but it's showing personalization. So it's not just like completely templated where I could have sent this to 5 million people and it would have been the same for all of them. Like it's specific for this business. But I noticed a pattern in how prospective owners describe their first contact with your office. So this is hitting the pain point and digging into the pain point a little bit more, which is this is what it's costing you. So personalization, pain point, more pain point, and then solution. So I mapped out exactly where the leak is and how it gets closed. You want me to send over what I found. So it's not saying click here to buy or book a call with me. Like that's really aggressive and it's high friction. This is just saying, hey, do you want me to send over the research that I found so you can look at it? That's it. And then, so day 3, hey, Tom, just bumping this into your inbox. Short version, prospective owners who call Alarka and don't hear back within a couple hours are signing with whoever calls back first. That's fixable without hiring anyone. Want the breakdown? So again, offering to provide that research that I did. I'm still not pushing my products and services down their throat. I'm just asking them, hey, do you want this thing? And don't ever just say, hey, just bumping this into your inbox. Like offer a different angle or a case study or some different piece of information so that it's not just like, hey, here I am poking you. It's just offering it from a different angle. The angle being like, you're not calling people back. And by doing that, you're risking like losing out on that business. And the solution line, which is that's fixable without hiring anyone. And then lastly, hey, Tom, Lindsay again, rather than keep describing the problem I built to fix. So again, a new angle. It's a system that texts and emails every missed caller within 15 seconds, commits to a callback window, and pings your team lead if nobody follows up in 2 hours. A prospective owner literally cannot fall through the cracks anymore. It's live right now with the Larka's exact scenario loaded in. Want the 2-minute walkthrough. So now we're getting into like what the solution is. Again, it's from a fresh angle. And that's why this works. All right. So like I said, length, is why Claude made these decisions. The length, 60 to 90 words per email, needs to be readable and skimmable in like 10 seconds. Opening with a genuine compliment backed by a specific number. That's that personalization we were talking about. Not a people problem, a systems gap. So it's saying this is a problem because it's a broken process in your business and it's not your people are terrible. Anyway, we'll come back to this in a sec, but let's check in on our deployment. You've cried and pulled your hair out over GitHub. That's relatable. Yeah, businesses don't care about the tech. They really don't. They just want the solution. They want the win. Nothing is more fun than co-building with the customer. Yeah, having them hover over your shoulder and trying to provide input while you build. Alrighty. So let's go check on the deployment. So it looks like it failed and I don't know why. So I'm running a diagnosis to see what the issue is. But so I'm asking Claude Code, hey, my deployment from GitHub failed. Can you go see what the issue is and fix it? So the cool thing about Claude Code is, again, you can connect via MCP to a bunch of different platforms. You can kind of think of like an MCP as API access, but like with AI attached so that it knows like how to use the tools, what it can do. It can access the data and this, that, and the other. So we're just going to let it run through there and figure out what the issue is. But it sure beats me having to go into the logs and number one, try to troubleshoot it myself, or number two, copy and paste all of that into Claude and say, hey, this is the error that I'm getting. Help me figure out the issue. It's just nice that it is able to do it itself. Oh, oops. There's no PostgreSQL service in this project. Let me confirm what's currently there. Yeah, so I didn't set up the database and maybe that's why it's failing. All right, so while we're waiting for that, just to come back here really quick, reply-based call to action. So like I said, don't just offer to shove your products and services down their throat. Just say, hey, I have more information if this is relevant to you. Do you want me to send it? Lowest possible friction. Takes a one-word reply and not a whole, calendar commitment. One call to action per email. And then, like I said, email 2 is getting the email to resurface with a new angle. And then email 3 escalates from a claim to proof. So I went ahead and built it. so on and so forth. All right, so Claude Code is doing its thing in the background. So while we are waiting for that, do you have to use Claude for what? Do you need to go high level for AI consultant like CRM? No. You don't need it to start. Just use Google Sheets. You just need something that can keep track of your leads, where you can leave notes, put dates, like have their name and email address stored. You don't need to, like, don't over engineer what you need to start. You don't. Like when you get to the point where you're like, oh, wow, I have 20 leads, then you can start to think about getting something like go high level. But to start, you absolutely do not need it. Highly recommend using Claude for the writing and emotional side of things. Oh yeah, if you were talking about like the writing, I would definitely use Claude over ChatGPT or Gemini. Yeah, and actually, what's her name? Dario Amade's sister. I can't remember her name, and that's terrible, but I think she was, I want to say like an English major or something. So like, I feel like that's why Anthropic put so much emphasis on Claude being able to write well, because that's like her jam. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen so you can see what Claude's up to. So I'm still here in Railway. So my initial build failed, but we can see that this Postgres database was set up. So I'd be willing to believe that. Okay, yeah. So Claude Code is still doing its thing. Auto deploy with the database URL in place, and then it's going to watch for the new deployment. Okay, so as you can see, I didn't have to touch any of this. This is just Claude Code redeploying this service because the previous build had failed. So that was all just happening in the background, which is why I always say, like, it's just so much better to use Claude Code to build anything than it is to learn and go through building this in N8N. Another thing about N8N is like error handling can be fickle. If you have multiple workflows all chained together, or if you have like data that like the structure might be different. For example, I built like a YouTube scraping system where it would scrape competitors for my client's clients. Like he's a content coach. And so it would scrape his clients' competitors, then take everything in, evaluate like how that's performing against their channel, how it can be like rewritten in their style and tone with like a different angle. So it's not just like ripping off somebody's video. But I initially had it built in N8N because this was like probably a year ago, but it was just so fickle that I eventually just rebuilt it with Claude Code and deployed it to Railway, and it was just perfect. So if you have something like complex, you want to just go to Railway to start. All right. App is still building. My wait timer hasn't elapsed yet. It should be done. Okay, so the app is deployed. Let me confirm it actually booted cleanly, yada, yada, and get the public URL. So Claude Code is actually, I mean, we can go in and get the public URL ourselves, but we'll just wait for Claude Code to give it to us. And while we're waiting, something that I did want to show, and this is actually available right now to the VIPs in my school community, is the client acquisition OS. So if you've ever struggled with picking a niche, picking an offer, and knowing for sure that that niche and offer are profitable, and that has prevented you from doing actual outreach to businesses, this is what I have for that. So basically this interviews you in the same way that I would interview like my one-on-one coaching clients to figure out, okay, based on your knowledge, skills, experiences, who you know, et cetera, all of these different factors, here's the niche you should start with. You're not married to it forever. This is just what you're picking to begin. Here is a proven offer that's going to, be appealing to the business owners in this niche. And then you can actually generate outreach. So whether it's cold email or LinkedIn, you can fill in like the prospect's name, their company, any personalization like, hey, Alarka, I noticed your review said this. And then you can actually generate the sequence. So this is like just an example that I built with like some demo prospect. But those are the things that I see constantly holding people back. And so I built this for like the VIP folks in my group so that they're able to move past all of the roadblocks that people are typically encountering and just get to the actual outreach, which is the actual revenue generating activity. Alrighty. So now I need to quickly log into, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I don't want to, again, dox my Twilio account SID. Excuse me. So I'm logging into Twilio, but basically what Claude Code was saying is, hey, got everything sorted out. I just need your email. Excuse me. I just need your email. I need your Twilio like account information so that we can connect it. Sorry, give me one sec. So yeah, it's asking like my Twilio account SID, my Twilio authorization token, so on and so forth. So I'm going to grab that stuff really quick. So I'm not like, sharing my API keys on the stream. So just bear with me while I get all that stuff situated. And of course it's asking for my 6-digit code. But just to give you more context, on Twilio, when you set up an account, you automatically get an SID and authorization token. And so it's just asking for that information. And it's like, I don't want to show it, but it's like right here on the dashboard when you log in. And again, if you're ever like, I don't know where to get this information, ask Claude, and Claude can describe exactly how you can grab that info. Alrighty, so now I've moved on from Twilio and I am grabbing my API key for resend. And if you're not familiar with resend, That's something that allows you to send like transactional emails. So like, thanks for your purchase. Here's your link. Or, you know, basically they're not marketing emails, they're transactional. So it is based on having a transaction with the business, but it's free. It has API access, and it is really convenient when you want to send something like, hey, you forgot your password. Here's how to log in, kind of a thing. Alrighty, and then I'm just grabbing my Anthropic API key. Alrighty, sorry about the delay. Give you Claude MX. I don't know what that is. Vibe coding tool for 3D immersive website. Since we're already behind schedule and that's not the focus of today, no. Yes, Railway is a freaking lifesaver. Can I start without portfolio and case study, and which niche is best from your experience? Yes, you can start without a portfolio or case study. Start with the people in your warm network. Like start with somebody who's like already willing to give you a shot and say yes to you. And even if you don't know anyone who's a business owner, you probably know someone who knows a business owner, or know someone that can connect you somehow to a business owner. But that's where I would recommend starting, or start with what you know. Like if you have a 9-to-5 job, that was like the first automations that I ever built was my 9-to-5 job. And that like led to the next thing, which led to the next thing, you know, so on and so forth. So start with what you know, start with the people you know, and see what you can build for them that will deliver some kind of meaningful result. Even if it's for your 9-to-5, it doesn't matter. Like it's still a real result, and that's what's important, not how much you get paid. Okay. Give me 1 sec. I'm still putting sensitive data in here, guys. So All right, sorry, I'm just getting my phone number set up. Sorry. Do your Kava business. I tried Kava when I was in college. Do you use OpenClaw when using AI? No, I have never used OpenClaw. I've kind of looked into it when it was first like hitting the airwaves, but just because of the security concerns and the fact that I didn't want to buy a whole separate computer to administer it or to use it, it wasn't really my cup of tea. Okay. Okay. Alrighty, I think I am good, and I'm not going to dox myself by sharing anything else, so fingers crossed. All right, so basically what I was doing was giving Claude Code all of the credentials that it was asking for. So if you are building something like this for a prospect that you're going to reach out to, you can just say, hey, what do I need? Like, what platforms do I need to have an account for? And then what information do I need to give you from those platforms? And you can just like ask questions back and forth until you understand what it is that you need. So it'll tell you, oh, I need your Twilio account SID. The reason being, in order to send and receive text messages, that's like the info that I need. I need you to sign up for a resend account, which is, again, that transactional email. Here's how you, like, here's the website. Like, it'll literally break it down for you. Okay. So login works end to end, blah, blah, blah. Don't be looking at my credentials. All right, just gonna remove the screen share just real quick while it runs through there. All right, it should be getting close to finishing running and not putting my sensitive info out there. Alrighty. Just got on the stream. What are we building? That's an excellent question. Basically, we identified a real business over in, I think, Charlotte, North Carolina. And the business, they have decent ratings. They're rated 4.5 on Google reviews, but they have an issue with follow-up. So people will call, they won't answer. They'll have to wait to get their question answered by 3 different people. And they're just like failing to follow up with their prospective tenants and the people who are going to give them money, essentially. And so we're building the fix to that, which is like an automated SMS and email system that responds to people, gives them a window for when they're going to receive a call back, and then escalates to a supervisor or like a team lead internally within the property management company if that prospect hasn't gotten a call back within 2 hours. And that was identified through this fella. So tenants are lost at the first contact, calls are going unreturned, follow-up is never delivered, and the answer, when it finally arrives, comes via text after the prospect has already chased the company twice. So this is the estimated monthly leak in terms of their revenue, anywhere between maybe 2 and 4 broken deals every month. That's costing this property management company money. And so the automated acknowledgement sequence is going to trigger that the moment an inbound call or web inquiry is logged, confirming receipt, setting that callback window, and then escalating to a team lead if it's not done within that time frame. Okay. Alrighty, so hit reset demo data. Demo mode is on, escalation loop, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Alrighty, so it looks like we're all set. So let's come here to settings. Oops, am I sharing my screen? Yes. Okay, so we'll come here to settings and grab the URL. So like I said, this is the public URL. You guys don't go over there messing around and calling it. It's just a demo. And then let's sign into my dashboard. Okay, so this is like the dashboard. This is what it looks like. And this is my first time seeing it just as well as you guys. So let's see. Hit reset demo data right before you present. Demo mode is on with 2-minute timers and the escalation loop is live. So the sample lead escalates through agent to supervisor within about 4 minutes of seating. And fires real texts. Okay, so I'm going to click reset demo data. Okay, so now you can see that there was a missed call right here. It's just a demo missed call. And so it's counting down. We're going to pretend like that's a 2-hour window before it's going to escalate. And so I used a Google Voice number. And also my own personal cell phone number so that we can see the actual communication come in when it comes through. But like I was just explaining to this guy, after that missed call happens or the web inquiry comes in and nobody has called them back, it's going to escalate that to, it's going to show up on this dashboard so that anybody viewing the dashboard can be like, oh, shoot, I need to call this person. And then if it doesn't happen within 2 hours, which we're kind of just doing an elapsed time with this 2-minute timer, then it's going to escalate it to the team lead. And so you can see this is just like a mini CRM. We could actually just put something like this together in their CRM, depending on the CRM that they use. But this is just a lead dashboard where they can, in real time, see what's going on with anyone that's contacted them so that they can get back to them. So this really is specific for communication. All right, I feel like I'm counting down for New Year's. Alrighty, and then let's see. So it escalates and that countdown has ended. And then I received a text message right now. Hopefully you can see this. Sorry, there's a glare back there. But basically it's from the Twilio number that I set up. It says Summit Property Group follow-up alert. Blah, blah, blah phone number has been waiting 22 minutes, 11 seconds for a call back. Missed phone call, topic unknown. Please call them now. And then it has a clickable number. So I can just hit that and call them back. So in this case, if I come back here, so I'm like the primary person, the primary agent that's like working the desk that's responsible for getting back to these leads. And then what we're going to see is after this escalation happens, which, you know, this could be after 2 minutes, 2 hours, whatever the case is. But after the escalation happens, it's going to go to my Google Voice number, which represents, this is the supervisor now getting notified, hey, you have this lead and they haven't gotten a call back. You need to contact them. Whoever was supposed to call them back, your other agent that's working the desk, didn't call them back. And so we'll see that come through on Google Voice in just a sec. Oh, oops. I was not sharing my screen. Great idea. Love the build already. What AI do you use for this? I use Claude everything. Claude Code. All right. So 10 seconds until the supervisor gets brought into this. And we'll be able to see that come through on Google Voice up top right here. Hold on one sec. I just want to make sure I'm not doxing anyone on my my Google Voice. Okay, so sorry that this is so small, but you can see right over here. So Summit Property Group Supervisor Alert, this lead has had no callback after 2 reminders assigned to agent. So that could be Bob or Tim or Sandra or whoever. And then it has the lead phone number. So that's how that escalation system works. And then when the supervisor gets down that agent's throat and is like, why didn't you call this lead? You know that people have been complaining about this. Then they get contacted and dealt with, and then we can mark them as contacted and they move over here. And so this is just like this is like almost production ready. Like basically the only thing that we would have to do is say, okay, do you use the CRM? If we can incorporate this into your CRM and have notifications popping off like Go High Level or something, fantastic. If not, can you use this dashboard to manage your inquiries and your phone calls as they're coming in? And they'll say, yeah, we can do that. Perfect. Let's build this system that is actually going to notify this person that, hey, we received your inquiry. We're on it. And then also is going to escalate anything where they haven't been contacted. So that somebody is dealing with it. Somebody owns this process and people know about it. Right. Don't you ever go over limits with Claude? No, I just have the $100 a month plan. So nothing crazy. But yeah, well, that's not entirely true. I do like have monthly credits. I think it's up to like $50 or something, but that's like specifically for Fable usage. But I don't even think $200 a month. So, all right. So everything that we did today. So we found the leak with our leak finder. So even if you don't have access to the leak finder, you still know what to look for. And that's businesses between like 3.5 to 4.2 stars, maybe even up to 4.5 on Google reviews. And just go through and look, okay, in the last 6 months, what complaints are people talking about? We know property management is a big one. We know which niches and cities don't work, like dry cleaners. They probably don't have the enough income to pay you high ticket prices over the course of months. And so because it's not going to be able to pay you that much, I wouldn't even look into that. We looked for Dallas roofing. We know that businesses that are farming reviews like home services may or may not have publicly available complaints that you can harvest. We looked for personal injury lawyers in NYC, didn't come up with anything. So that means that, if people are not complaining about personal injury lawyers in NYC, you're going to have to find their problems and pain points that may not be external. They may be internal. So things that only they are privy to. But we know how to structure a cold email. So we don't want to just harass people endlessly. Like 3 emails tops has actually been shown by research to be the most effective. The more and more you email people after that, the more likely they are to report you as spam, and then you'll burn your inbox. And then we built the fix. So like I said, you can build literally anything with Claude. I've never run into any situation or instance where I couldn't figure out how to build something with Claude. And I've been asked to build some crazy stuff. Sell before you create. So you can build a workable demo. Like, I know I was talking a lot this whole time, but in the span of 2 hours, we were able to go from finding a leak, having a nice in-depth chat back and forth between me and the chat. But in less than 2 hours, build something that's like a demo that shows exactly how this is going to work in production. And then all we have to do is like change the name of the agent to your actual agent, change the phone number to your actual phone number, so on and so forth. But like for all intents and purposes, you're able to build something in that length of time that you can go out and demo to any business, like any property management business that has this issue. So you don't have to spend weeks perfecting a demo that's going to go nowhere. You can spend a couple hours on it knowing that these businesses have this set of problems. And then you can go and say, hey, I have the solution to this known problem that people are already complaining about and causing you negative publicity and and beyond even negative publicity, costing you real money. People aren't moving in because of this experience that they're having. Then they're telling their friends or they're telling people on their Google reviews, you shouldn't deal with these people because this is how my experience was. So this is how you fix that once and for all. So not only are you making more money, but you're saving time and your reputation. So all of those things all in one. And importantly, you know how to actually do outreach, like I was talking about with the cold email, and pitch people. You want to focus on, do you have this problem? Do you have this pain point first? Remember, the buyer's journey starts at like a bunch of people at the top who aren't even aware that they have a problem. When you send them an email, describe the exact problem that they have and be like, hey, is this an issue for you? They'll be like, wait a minute. Yeah, that kind of is an issue for us. Now they're problem aware. And now, as you bring them deeper and deeper through your funnel, they're becoming problem aware, then solution aware. Then you get to educate them on exactly why your solution is the best one. And this is typically done on a call. But you can just ask them, okay, like, how many leads do you typically get a month? Where are they coming from? What's the average like customer worth for you over the lifetime that you have them? Probably in the tens of thousands of dollars if they're a property management firm. Like, of all of the people who contact you, what proportion actually end up becoming a tenant? So like, what's your close rate essentially? And now you can start to look at all of the levers that impact profitability, and you can make the determination of just how much money this is going to be worth to them using the words that they give you with their own mouth. So that's how you put all of the pieces together, and actually go from, okay, there's a visible problem that I know that they want to solve because it's costing them money, to building a thing that you can actually show them, and then getting them on a call because you're asking them, do you have this problem? Okay, cool. Because I have the solution. Do you want to learn more? Like, you're not shoving products and services and book calls down their throat. You're just selling the next step. And the next step is, do you want more info? Perfect. Then you can get them on a book call, like 15-minute call. And then you can ask them questions. And then you can say, hey, I have this system. Here's what it does. This is the impact that it could have on your business, using the words back to them that they just used to you to describe their problem and the impact that it's having financially. And then boom, close them. Hey, let's do this. I'm actually willing to do it as a pilot. So it's $1,500, and then it will just be $500 a month if you're happy with the service afterward. And then it's yes, no, or not right now. And if they say no, okay, can you tell me like what would have made this a yes for you? If they say not right now, totally get it. Can I ask, like, is it bad timing, or are there other priorities going on right now? Okay, bad timing. Oh, you're getting your tax return back for your business in a month. Cool. I'll check back with you in about 30 days. How does that sound? Dope. And now you still have that door open. They're expecting contact with you, or at the very least, if you get a no, now you know why. Like, you can ask them for more information, and you're getting straight from your market why this isn't working, what needs to change, what needs to improve, so that you can always come back to this person and say, hey, those things you were talking about, I really took that to heart and I fixed it for you. This is the solution that you asked for. Or you can go and reach out to other businesses having the same problem and say, hey, and knowing the objection that you couldn't overcome with the first guy, you can incorporate that into your messaging so that your messaging gets stronger every time you're reaching out to new folks. Yes. So pause your hardening system phase, go through your CRM and do outreach, and then acquire that client before you continue to build. Otherwise, you're going to be doing a lot of building and not a lot of outreach. And it's the outreach that's the actual revenue generating activity. Anyway, so if you are a business owner and you are wondering what your leaks are, maybe they're visible, maybe they're not visible. And you don't need to learn any of this. You don't need to learn how to build any of this yourself. You can book a call at the link in the description that's below this live. And if you are a builder, if you are somebody who wants to make money with AI by selling these solutions to businesses, which you're my people, because that's my passion in life. AI Money Hub is where I teach that. And that link, I'll grab it right now and drop it in the chat. But that link is also down in the description. Sorry, I'm brain dead after talking for 2 hours. But here is the link for AI Money Hub. And so what I want to also mention is Monday, the 10th. So this upcoming Monday, we're actually starting a 5-day challenge where we're going to build something like this together live as a group, something that an actual business would actually pay for, not just once, but a retainer kind of a setup. So we're going to build it live, start to finish. And by the end of next week, you're going to have something sellable that you can actually go out and pitch to a real business and have it ready to implement and actually like make money from that business. So like I said, that's starting Monday. I'm really excited for it. We're having that 5-day challenge. I posted the link to my school community. And there's also a 7-day free trial. So if you are either thinking about wanting to do the challenge, or if you want like the client acquisition OS that I showed at the beginning that helps you pick a niche based on your knowledge, skills, experiences, background, who you know, etc., and then pick an offer that's actually going to be profitable working within that niche, and then how to actually generate cold outreach to reach out to those folks and have conversations, get them on calls, and then close deals. That's available in my for my VIP folks in my school community. And again, that's all available with the 7-day free trial. Anyway, if you're asking about the replays, the replay will be available on my YouTube. I don't know how long YouTube takes to process it, so just stay patient with that. If you're in my school community, I will post the replay in full within the school community as well for your convenience. Thank you guys a million for joining. You're savages for sticking around this long. If you have any questions, you can hit me up in my school community. You can also send me an email. I'll drop my email in the chat as well. It's just lindsay@automateaiconsulting.com. And yes, I posted a reel 33 minutes ago because it was scheduled. So you can schedule shorts on YouTube and on Instagram and Facebook. All right. So AI Money Hub, if you are a builder, if you are a business owner, you can click the link down in the description and book a call with me. Thank you guys a million for joining. I had so much fun. I'm going to go drink some water and eat something, but I really appreciate you guys joining. You're beasts. Hope you have a wonderful day, and peace out.